Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Dan Kurlicki. I want to welcome you to part 2 of my interview with IFBB bodybuilding pro Cheryl Mears. And this is going to be released. We're doing this on October 1st. This is going to be released next week, parts 1 and 2, because this is an incredible story. And we're going to pick up where we left off. And just to do a 2-second recap, Cheryl has had ulcerative chronic colitis, sepsis, breast cancer, not expected to live. Go to her Facebook page right now. Go to my Facebook page right now. Take a look at the pictures, okay, that she has sent me during her times of struggle. This is a story of triumph over tragedy. We want to motivate, we want to educate, we want to inspire. And this is a story that includes all three simultaneously together at the same time. And I want to welcome back my friend Cheryl. Cheryl, welcome back. How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
Very good.
And if you take a look at those pictures, and if you were to, she just showed me her bicep a few minutes ago. She said, did it get a little bit bigger? I said, yes, I think it did, as a matter of fact. If you look at what she was during these times and what she is now, it really is a remarkable transformation. So we left off with getting your pro card. Now we're going to go to June of 2020, okay, with your near fatal accident. Tell us what happened during that time.
Well, during that time, I was in prep for a show. And because of COVID, shows getting pushed back. So athletes were staying on prep a little longer than usual just because the show may be a few weeks out or they may cancel it and you're scrambling to find a show. So in my case, that's kind of what happened. The show that I was going for got moved to November, and there was a show coming up a few weeks later, so we stayed in prep for that. So it was June 18th, to be exact, and I was at work, and all of a sudden, I just didn't feel good. My stomach, something was off. I really couldn't explain it. But instead of going to leg day, because I always go to work and then I go to the gym and then I come home, I said, I'm going to go home and rest for a little bit. I wasn't in pain at that point, but I just knew something was off. And for me to say I'm going to hold off on the gym, I'm very in tune with my body. So I went home and I laid down and I texted my coach and I said, listen, I'm not feeling good. I'm starting to feel pain in my stomach. Not sure what's going on. And she said, it's probably just cramps, just drink some water, lay down and so on. So I did that, but it just got worse. And I don't know if I passed out or fell asleep, but I remember waking up and all of a sudden like screaming in pain. At that point, I think my pain was a 7 from a scale of 1 to 10. Mm-hmm. And I texted my coach. I said, I honestly texted, I'm no wimp, but I'm going to the emergency room. I can't take this. So I screamed for my daughter. She was staying with me at the time. And I told her, you've got to get me to the emergency room. And at that time, I was about 155 pounds of solid muscle because I'm waiting to go to show. So I'm, pretty much ready. And my daughter is maybe $100 if 100 pounds, if really thin, weak. And she had to drag me because I couldn't walk. So somehow I was leaning on her and she was dragging me to the car kind of thing. So we rushed to the emergency room. They came out to get me because I couldn't walk at all. And because of COVID, she wasn't even allowed to come in. So they put me in a room. And the first thing I said to the nurses, I want an NG tube. And for those who don't know what an NG tube, it's actually a tube they put inside your nose that goes into your stomach to take any contents out. I knew that wasn't going to resolve the problem, but I was hoping it would give me some relief until they could figure out what was going on. The nurse fought me on it. And I said, listen, lady, either I'm going to do it or you're going to do it. But one of us is putting this tube in my nose because I said, I need some relief now.
Right.
And honestly, that's all I remember of happening. Now, what my daughter told me after the fact, between that time and surgery, she said that I was getting very angry because no one was listening to me. I'm saying I'm in pain. I need certain things. Like I always call it a GI cocktail where I drink it in the hospital. It opens up my intestines and I start feeling better. And they just weren't giving me anything, she said. And she said, you are screaming at the top of your lungs. And I don't remember any of this. And she said, I was so delirious in pain that some of the words weren't even coming out right, but I was just so much in pain. But eventually what happened is they found that my intestines had twisted. And once they twist, you can't untwist them. So it means that the blood flow to the intestines has stopped. And as soon as that happens, that's the part that dies. So it's a mad rush to cut off that part and put blood flow into the areas that, you know, can flow and reconnect whatever plumbing, if you will. So I went through 3 emergency surgeries. The first one they had to stop because my blood pressure went so low. And my daughter said it was very eerie because after the surgery, they left me open and they just put a sheet over me and she was able to come in and see me. I was knocked out, of course. Right. But she said it was eerie because she knew if the blanket came off, I would be wide open. And she said it was like almost looking at me in the morgue. It was, she said it was awful. So we went through that.
That's not a great sight to see on your mom, right?
No, it's not. I'm sorry. I just couldn't even imagine what she was going through at that time. She was my rock. She was everything to me. So they did the second surgery and my blood pressure went back up. They were able to do the second surgery. And then a few days later, they did the third surgery. And so the first 2 surgeries was to remove all the dead tissue or all the dead intestines that were there. And then the last surgery was to put the ileostomy in. By that time, I was left with 9 feet of intestines. For those that don't realize it, you have about 25 feet of intestines. And after you go to about 4.5 feet, you don't have a long life expectancy because you can't actually eat food anymore. Everything is liquid and your body just can't survive a long period of time on just liquids. And the less intestines that you have, the less nutrients you can absorb. So you could just understand in general what that would be. So anyway, I remember waking up. I didn't know at that point when I woke up what happened to me. I knew I was in a hospital. I could hear people talking around me, but I really couldn't move or anything like that. And this was about a week later after I had gone to the hospital. But I do remember touching my chest and feeling my phone. They had left my phone on me. And I remember, like it was yesterday, overhearing a nurse. It was a female. I mean, I don't know, a nurse or whatever, saying, "Poor thing, she's probably not going to make it through the night." And that was a shock, waking up and overhearing stuff like that, because I still didn't even know what happened. I didn't even know I had an ileostomy at that point.
Right.
So I don't know how much longer after that was, but I was able to call my daughter, and I believe I called my coach also on the phone, and I couldn't see my phone. Like I would hold my phone up and I could not see what was on there. So I just started punching like my chest. And then all of a sudden, my daughter rang. I was like, "Oh my God," you know, and I started talking to her, and she was consoling me. You know, she knew what happened. I didn't even know what was going on. And she started consoling me like, Mom, you're strong, you're going to get through this. I love
And
you.
and you have no idea what's going on at this point.
I have no idea, but I heard that I'm probably not going to last through the night at that point. And so I immediately, and this is where your mindset comes in, and I have to emphasize this strongly. As soon as she started saying that, my mindset kicked in and said, I told her right out, I said, honey, I'm going to get through this. I don't know how. I'm going to get through this. I'm going to get out of this hospital. I'm going to go back to the gym and I'm going to go do a show. On my supposedly deathbed, I'm saying these things to her.
Right.
And most people would not have done that. They probably would have gave up or just got really sad and just like got into the emotions of what was going on. And I said to myself, I said, excuse my language, I said, fuck this, I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to fight whatever's going on. And when my daughter heard that, I could hear her voice turn to like almost crying to like, wow, I believe my mom, because my mom has been through so much.
Right.
And when she says something, she's going to do it. And you could feel that energy in the room at that time. And it was just so beautiful. At the time, I didn't realize it. I was just doing my thing and saying, I'm going to get through this. And that's it.
Right.
And I said the same thing to my coach. It's like, I'm getting through this. We're getting out of here. We're going to get back in the gym and you're taking me to show and we're doing all of this, and I was like really excited. But it wasn't easy. It definitely wasn't. So after—
Talk a little bit more about that mindset, because we had posted earlier today that you were coming back on part 2. And so let me just go here for a second.
Sure.
And let me read to you what somebody said. What a tough and strong spirit you have.
Yep.
Let's talk about that tough and strong spirit.
Well, throughout my life, I've had chronic illness and I've been through a lot. In the beginning, it was devastating because my life had changed. How I did things, was different. So a lot of hospital visits, a lot of misdiagnosis, a lot of promises that didn't come through from the medical side. And I'm not blaming anybody, but you know how it is, it's a tough disease. If there was a cure, we'd all be taking that pill or shot or whatever it is to fix it. Mm-hmm. But everyone is different, and it's such a terrible disease. I would never wish this on anyone. So I learned it early in my life that you just have to keep fighting no matter what. There's going to be days where I go into hospital and days I'm going to be at home doing normal stuff. So the mindset is that no matter what happens in life, when it becomes a negative, like when you get kicked down, like in my case, I lost all my muscle mass, I'm almost going to die and all that. The way I look at it is a challenge. Okay. I believe
you took it as a challenge.
As a challenge, because
you said, this is not going to define who I am.
Exactly. I mean, some people could have been fixated at that moment. Okay, I was going to show, I looked great. Now I look like this.
Right.
And they could have gave up, okay, and said, that's it. I'll get health. I mean, I'll get it back to health or whatever, but I can never go back to where I was. And honestly, I'll never go back to where I was. I've actually learned so much in this journey in this past year, and I'm actually blessed that I went through it because I've gained so many more friends and so many more blessings that you could not even imagine in this time frame. But it's all because of your mindset. So I figured, I looked at this as a challenge, like I'm going to overcome this. And the thing that people don't realize is when they go through something negative like this, something better will happen. You just have to wait for it. And people don't have that patience. They're like, oh, look at me now. But the thing is there's things you have to do to get to that other side, to get to the better place. And you just have to have that mindset and believe, all these little things that you're going to do to get you back on track will work. You just have to realize it's going to be a lot of uncomfortable times. And don't stress out, don't freak out, just stay the course. And sometimes you won't even know how you're going to get there, but just trust that you will get there. And that's the mindset. So don't think of yourself as a victim. And I think a lot of people do. They think they go through something, and even if it's not their fault, like in this case, this was no one's fault. Something just happened. Okay, accept it, move on, fight it, and become a better badass in the end. And that was my mindset. I was not going to let this define me. It was not going to do that.
So, I had said this, I do believe in part one. So for everybody that's listening to this, if Cheryl can get through this, not knowing whether she was going to live, and then to get back on stage and to do what she wants to do. She's working in IT right now. She's working out. She's getting back on stage. And maybe I can coax her to give a little bicep before we get off. I don't know.
I'll do it now.
There you go. There you go. So, I mean, seriously, this is something, and this is why we love having Cheryl on, is because, I mean, this is just really something that inspires me to do better each and every day after she went through what she went through. Okay, I'm sorry. Pick up with the story. I'm done talking for now.
I forgot where the story left. Oh, to be honest with you, we were just going on. You
were telling us your phone and
oh yeah, I called. And all that kind of stuff. So basically, I'm still in ICU. I'm recovering and so forth. I don't know all time frames. I'll be honest with you, but they were really shocked about a week later that I was doing so well. They were surprised. And you guys are going to laugh at this one, okay? But when I got a little bit better and they said that I could start eating foods, I texted my daughter and I said, listen, you need to go to my gym. She's, what are you talking about, Mom? I said, I need protein powder and I need protein bars. I said, I am not eating this crap that they're serving me in the hospital. I said, I got to keep my nutrition up.
Right.
So she went to the gym that I go to. She got a bunch of protein bars, bunch of protein powder, and I had it at my little table. So every day they would bring me different, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And if it wasn't satisfactory to me, I would have a protein shake or a protein bar. Now, in the grand scheme of things, okay, it wasn't the healthiest either, but it was better than hospital food. And I'm laying in bed. So and there's your mindset. I believe in nutrition. I believe in health. They're serving me greasy eggs and bacon, and I'm scratching my head is like, how is that healthy? I'm trying to get my nutrition back, and this is the crap that you're feeding me. Somebody. So
I could go on for
exactly
months with that, because
yeah,
my father was in the hospital after lung cancer. He's no longer here with us, God rest his soul. And the foods that they were feeding him to get him back, the argument I had, and the oncologist said at the end that he would love to work with me, but with cancer patients, but I'm in New Jersey, he's in North Carolina, so I got somebody else. So all right, anyway, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So all right, so I was eating a lot of that kind of stuff, and of course not a lot, because you have to realize my whole body just went through a bunch of hell, so I couldn't keep a lot of food down, so I had to do it slowly, and that's the key to recovery. You start eating little bits and you start growing and so forth. So imagine if I started eating crap right away, how much longer it would have taken me to get where I got.
Right, that recovery process would have been just set back so significantly.
Yeah, and I want to go off just for a little bit.
Go right ahead. This is your show. I'm not even the host at this point. This is the Cheryl show at this point. Go ahead.
I appreciate that. So, I was just talking about my mindset of saying, okay, I'm not going to eat the junk that they're giving me in the hospital. I'm going to do the best. Now, I got to realize this is COVID time, so it's really tough. So,
Mhm.
I'm doing.
I think Cheryl froze everybody. So let's see if we can get her back. Give me one.